Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. I'm walking a bit steadily because it's really wet still underfoot, quite slippery because of all the mud, of course, all the soil that's down below on my feet. And well, welcome. And look, it's not raining. The first time, I think, in, oh gosh, I'd say since January the 1st, but we have had the odd day where we haven't had much rain. But by God, we've had storms and rain and all sorts. Well, I say we have. We'll have a look in a moment at a fantastic allotment in Wakefield, and we'll see how they're doing in their preparations for the new season ahead. I've been clearing out my greenhouses and my raised beds. Interesting finds in the raised beds. So sit back, relax, put your feet up, come on, you know the drill, have a cuppa and enjoy today's show. Well, I've taken my hat off, messy hair day, but there you go, because it's actually quite mild and, as I say, dry for the moment. I've been working on my raised beds here behind me, just clearing them up, getting a lot of the weeds out that do come. It's incredible, isn't it? We put fresh soil in all those things, you still get weeds coming up. I always find that fascinating. And then, of course, you'll be really careful because there are plants that I've put in that are regrowing. Now, some are good and some aren't so good because they won't really develop into what you want. So sometimes if you leave the onion bulbs in the far corner one, I've got some big onion bulbs that were left in. And obviously if they're in, they won't regrow into onions. You just get lots of greenery on top. So I suppose you can use those parts in your cooking and in your salads, but you can't use the onion bulbs themselves. You can't even dry them out at this stage because they're so full of water and rotten, but they do re-sprout. However, what's brilliant is if it's not been too damp, too wet, which it has a little bit here, but this area slightly survived, or some of the plants have. Unfortunately, this is a chard, and it's fell off the head because it's been too damp. At the bottom, it's really, you can just see it's soaked, saturated with water. But chard is amazing because if you don't interrupt the head or disturb the head at all, when you're cutting back your outer leaves, you always start on the outer leaves with chard and go inwards. And the more outer leaves you get rid of, the more it sprouts from the inside, a bit like everlasting garlic and everlasting, yes, you can do everlasting garlic, everlasting leeks, as we call them. And you can do it with all sorts of plants. Lettuce, of course, take the outer leaves off and the inner leaves will grow. The chards are the same. And here, I've got some brand new little chard leaves coming. In fact, these are all new leaves. It's a shame it's fallen off. What I will do, I'm going to pop it back into the greenhouse with some heat under it. And you never know, we might get new roots out of it. We might not. Because obviously the root system is actually in the ground here, but it's just too wet for it. Unfortunately, however, I have some surviving ones in the ground. And here's a photograph of those. And as you can see, they are now starting to grow from the middle. And when the weather gets warmer, they will become shards. It's becoming shard already. So, and these won't be wasted, by the way. I know they're tiny. I should take these in and we'll steam those very lightly. And we can have those with our Sunday roast today, which will be rather lovely. It's, yeah, good old chard. And it comes in all different colours. In fact, wait a moment. Here I have in my pocket, ta-da! And there's one, two, this is called rainbow chard, obviously, a little bit like the rainbow carrots, which I've never had much success at getting the colours. I tend to get the white and the purples, but that's about it. But here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colours. It says happy and highly nutritious, it says. And from seed here, you can start planting them out from, well, end of February, March, inside. And then obviously you can pick, although under glass, plant indoors, you can do that. And directly sow outside, it says here. So these will go outside. We'll put them in a different bed, probably in the raised bed I have over near my strawberries. So yeah, Swiss chard. I'm not doing too bad here, but not as well as Darren in Wakefield's doing. And we're going to pop across to Wakefield now. And Darren's been really, really busy. Now, the other day, this was taken here in Sheffield, which is about just under 40 miles away. We've had continuous rain, absolutely dreadful weather. just pouring down. Everything's waterlogged. I know a lot of the football matches here in my area are cancelled today because of the amount of water that they have on their pitches. But Darren in Wakefield, well, you've been out and about and doing all your stuff. And you've built a bug hotel. And it's fantastic. Just look at the underneath. All those fantastic spaces for any sort of creature that wants to go in there. Especially the solo bumblebees. They love having somewhere to hide and hibernate and just generally enjoy life. And they go back and they'll fill the little round tubes. They'll fill them up with wax and just stay in there and have a really good time and come in and out whenever they want to. Isn't it fantastic? And all those little bug places. It just looks brilliant. And it looks like on top that you're going to have some sort of raised bed, which is a very good use of the space too. So that's brilliant. But look at how tidy and wonderful the rest of your allotment is. And it certainly is ready now to start sowing and even planting eventually all sorts of stuff. Because we know you like your cabbages, we know you like your sprouts and your greens, and your potatoes, and they'll all be in there sooner than we all think actually. And well, speaking of sowing stuff outside, and you've got loads of lovely raised beds. It looks really, really great. I hope we get a couple of drier days and I can get out here properly and really give it a good fettle, as we say in Yorkshire. Get to the bottom of it. I can now sow outside, if I wish, my sprouts. But I tend to put them in the greenhouse first. So these are going to go into like a raised trough. In fact, I've got several left over from when I had my peas outside last year. So we'll get that soil cleaned up, get some nutrients into that soil, and we'll put some of these sprouts in and get them coming up. And they can just go in little trays, or I'm going to put them into deeper, and they'll come out nicely. You can also start sowing peas as well now. I know Darren last year, and very successfully, you grew your peas first in an old piece of guttering, the round piece, put ends on, and I've never been a very successful pea grower in that sense. So I tend to put mine in fact, I must find them and start sowing some peas as well. Planted my garlic bulbs, you remember last week, and well, when I was in the home today, in the drawer, I found some old garlic, and it's attempted to reshoot, but it's just dried out. But here's a photograph. You can see it started to come at the top. Now in here behind me, 2 of the garlic bulbs already are starting to shoot. In fact, I think there might be 3. And here's a photograph of those 2. So that's exciting news. I said they're just on the edge of the heat mat. What's great is the self-watering in a way, because it's creating, because of the dampness of the soil, it's creating like a little waterfall down the edges, and that drips into the tray at the bottom, and then it can be reused in the soil. So I'll keep those topped up. And is it exciting? Things are starting to happen here on the allotment. Well, I better get sowing my Brussels sprouts here, and we'll keep the Chard a little bit longer till the end of February. I'm going to try and sow all of these this year in the hope we get lots and lots of different colours. And I'm going to go back outside now and pick the Chard up that I've got outside and have it with my Sunday lunch. Once again, thank you very much for watching Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotments. Keep your lovely answers, questions, comments coming in, and I do promise we will look at those over the next few weeks. See you later. Ta-ra for now.